Watch your folks, 965 here. We're back in the workshop for this one. It's a bit of a repair video. One of the components inside one of my radios went pop quite dramatically a few months ago, and I only recently got around to repairing it. It was an easy fix, and it was an easy fix for something that could be quite easily done. If you connect the radios up in reverse polarity, this particular capacitor will explode, maybe with a little pop, maybe with quite a dramatic bits everywhere type situation. So if for any reason you get inside, you've had the same problem, you've connected the power lead up the wrong way, or you've put them on the terminals on the battery the wrong way around and it's gone pop and you've opened it up, if for any reason your capacitor looks like this, then it needs replacing. Really it should look like this, and that's what we're going to do tonight. So the radio we're talking about is one of these bad boys. It's an Anytone 5555, and we'll get some good close-up shots. I've got the soldering iron on, and we're going to replace the capacitor. Now this is the unit that I bought as a spares or repairs, specifically to get that little component. I'd not done any electronics really before on radios, so I figured if I could get a unit that was the same, then I'd be able to get the component out and swap it over, and job's a good one. Now the radio I've got that I use is a version 6, and this particular one here is a version 3, but the capacitor was the same. So we'll get repositioned, we'll get some close-ups going, and we'll show you what's involved. Catch you in a bit. So before you start, obviously you're going to need to remove the casing, and there are 2 screws at the front, 2 screws at the back, same on the other side. And don't forget that on the back you've got one at the top there and one at the top there. Once you've done that, you can whip off the top case, nice and easy. There's nothing to worry about on that one. On the other one, when you flip it over, this is the one that's got the speaker attached to it, so you'll need to take it off quite carefully so that you don't pull the wire. I've already done this one, but the wire is normally attached to the board over there, so just be careful that you don't yank something and break something else, otherwise you'll have to extend your job. So the location on the board of the capacitor we're referring to today, and I will stick in a close-up picture, is there. That one there. So where that circle is there. Where that circle is there. Okay. Now the capacitor, you can't see it on the board because I've already pinched it for the other radio. That's what the capacitor looks like. Okay, and this one has to be plumbed in, if you like, the correct way round. And you can see there it's marked with a negative side, and the other information on there is that it's good up to 25 volts. You put any more than 25 volts and it will explode, or if you connect it the wrong way round, or if you put the power lead in the wrong way round, it will go pop as well. And this one is, if you can just see it there, 1000 microfarads. Now I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of it. If you want to look it up on the interweb, go ahead. There's loads of information and basics on electronics on there. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to insert that into the board. We're going to flip it over, solder the 2 legs, okay, and that's basically the job done. So what we'll do first is we'll get it located in the correct orientation, and if you've got one in the board already and it's the top, quite often you'll find that the top pops, just replace it the same way around, and that'll be good to go. Otherwise you'll need to work out which side of the board is negative and which side is positive. Again, I'm not going to go into that now, that's a whole other lesson. So we'll reposition the camera so you've got a good close-up. You can see in a bit more close-up where we're actually going to be fitting the new component, and it goes into this portion here with the negative side facing this white area of the circle. Now as I say, I did buy this as a spares or repairs, and I have had to resolder this joint here because that had come off, which means obviously that there would have been no power. So I'm just wondering if this was all that this was the reason why it was spares or repairs. If it is, then it's been a cheap radio. £10 it cost me. So if this was all it was, I'm going to be pretty happy. So we're going to put the capacitor in here. You can see there that that's the coax feed. Obviously on the other side you've got your connector for the coax. So what we'll do, we'll take the capacitor. That's what it looks like there, that's the capacitor there. And you can see there, that's the negative side. And that's going to go towards those white lines in that circle. And I'm just going to try and do this. I'm working back to front, so it's a bit awkward, but you can see there, that's the detail of the component. It's good up to 25 volts. Any more than 25 volts and you'll either pop the top of the cap or the whole thing will just blow up and you'll end up with a pile of bits like my old one, which is there. Not so good. So all I'm really doing here is replacing like for like, so I'm quite happy to do so. You can see there now that this is actually a version 3 board, and this is the way to tell. If you're not sure what version of radio you're buying, take the cover off and have a look at the board and it will tell you. So what we're going to do, if I can work out which way I'm going with this, there we go. I'm going to insert the capacitor, as I said, with the negative side on the white portion of the circle. It's a little bit fiddly. You've got to make sure that the holes are clear and ready to receive the component. Get it lined up and it should pop into the board nicely like that. So that's what it should look like once it's done. Push it down flat to the board. Again, this is how this one was when I got it. So I'm going to push it down flat to the board. We're going to turn it over, keeping the component in the board. And then if I turn that, hopefully you can see there's the two tails there wiggling around. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the soldering iron on, we're going to feed in some solder and trim the legs off basically, and that is the job done. So we'll just get a bit better position for you so you can see, and we'll be back. And there we go. I certainly do need some more work on my soldering skills. But there we go, that's pretty much done. I'm just going to grab my tweezers and just, yeah, that's nice and that's nice. They're both secured. Now, to keep the component up flat against the board, what I've done is I've just used an upturned tin of modelling paint there, just to keep the component flat to the board whilst I work on it upside down. Now, this next job, simple case, really you want to use a good sharp pair of maybe mini side cutters, but they're in my other kit. So I'm just going to come in here with my scissors, which are actually very good, and trim those off. Flush. Hold the actual, it's a bit difficult to show you, but hold the actual piece before you cut it so it doesn't ping off and lodge inside another component. I can't show you, I'm going to grab it. So there you go, see? Just to make sure that it doesn't ping off and land inside something else. And that's the repair done. We'll get rid of the paint pot. We'll zoom the old camera back out, the compulsory graph checkerboard there, and there you go, there's the component in place. Just zoom that in, there it is. Nice tidy neat job, that's nice and secure, that isn't going anywhere, and pleased with that. Now all I need to do is make sure that it works. So what I'm going to do is just quickly put it all back together. And it's a simple job. So the first thing to do is start off with the case with the speaker in it. I always start with the one with the speaker in it. And the first thing to do is plug the speaker into the socket. So the easiest way to do it is to get it by the wires, okay, and just feed that down into the socket, and once it's located, just give it a little push and you'll feel it and hear it click. Once you've done that, make sure you've got the hole on the right side to go around the mic socket, and then it's just a case of lowering that down in place like that, and same with the other one. Make sure it's the right way round, slide the cover on, and then all you're going to do is put the screws back in. I keep them in a little lid so they don't all roll around the place. And I've got a slightly magnetic screwdriver which helps keep the screw on the end of the screwdriver, and it's just a case of screwing it back together. There we go. Now we shall fire it up shortly and see if my repair is any good, and we'll be back for that once I've got all these screws put in. Right then folks, I've got the mic plumbed in now. I've got some power into it. I've just unplugged the coax from the Alinco, which is just above the repaired unit. That's my workshop box, that stays in here all the time. Often have that on in the background. So we're going to fire it up. I haven't tried it. I've got the power connected in the right way round, and we're going to give it a punt and see what we get. Right, let's give it a try. It's either going to work or it's not. Ho, ho, ho. That's a result. That is a good result. That box, as spares or repairs, cost me a tenner. I've just replaced the capacitor and resoldered one of the power connectors, and it's a working radio. Let's have a quick look through the channel changes a bit wobbly, as the Anytones often are. It seems to be alright. Why it's got that, I'm not quite sure why it's like that. Obviously needs a reprogram. But that all sounds to be alright. I don't think there's anyone on. I'm not sure why it's running into the... That's a bit odd. Anyway, we'll put it back up to... I can't remember what it was, 781. So that's channel 19 on the UK FM, 78125. And that's obviously where it was being used when it was when it went pop, or when it stopped working. I suspect it was the joint come off the power connector. Whether it got too hot that it melted it, I don't know. But that is certainly a result. We'll just check it keys up, and if it does, then we're all good. And it does indeed key up, so that is a result too. I'll have to give it a proper try, give it some retune, and see how it goes. And it'll be out on one of the nets. It's unusual to hear nobody on the 19 though. That's a bit weird, but there we go. Result indeed. So I'm pleased with that. Right, okay, that's about it folks. Just a quick-ish video to keep the channel moving along. We will be back out portable very soon, hopefully. We're out tomorrow night for the UK FM Midweek DX, channel 28 from 7 PM onwards on the UK FM. 2787125 for those of you with a frequency only radio. And then we're back out for the CTX AM network, which is running on, you can probably see behind me maybe, Saturday the 31st of October, Halloween special. Woohoo! So that's on the AM, on the mid-block. Been very popular, so we're going to run another one. Call in on channel 14 on the mid-block, which is 27.125, and then we'll QSY from there. Last couple of times we've ended up on channel 10, so we'll see. It all depends which channel's free and where we can go. So there's that one, and then obviously you've got the celebration of Legal CB in the UK, which comes in, I think it's November. It's November the 2nd, which actually falls on a Monday this year, which is a shame. But again, 7 PM onwards, I'm pretty sure it's going to kick off, and it's across the board. So there'll be UK FM, there'll be sideband, probably a bit of AM. There'll be people all over the place. So it's a case of turning on, tuning in, and having a good night of radio. That's about it. I'm going to grab my brew, and before I go, I've got to say a big thanks to Chris the Hulk, Charlie Tango 430, for the advice regarding the repair, and also for the part, the capacitor. So thanks Chris, it's appreciated mate, and we'll catch you on the air soon, and catch everyone else later on. Bye for now.